for the show to make sure we were going to do one because I couldn't get on my psychic show last night. So I'm wondering what's burning curiosity for me is with the world up in we're trying to be mindful souls and look at our inner selves. However, we're pointing fingers outside of ourselves everywhere, and yet it seems the world is awakening all at once with regards to things happening around us, but we've been discussing it the last 2 weeks, so I guess it's time to move on. And we're going to move back into the UFO secret space, and that for me was words I put together, and Janet liked it, and she was working on secret space stories. So tonight I hope that the three women will build as women, because I'm in one of those UFO groups with Paula Harris, which Karen knows. That was one of the websites, one of the social media sites on Facebook for women that were into ufology. And apparently there's not that many that make it. There's Paula Harris, and I can't think of another one doing events, but I do know Kathy Martin and Denise over here in Florida. So I'm just going to turn it back over to Janet. And in Janet, I've got alienologist, phenomenologist, ufologist, parapsychologist, precognitionist, and ET experiencers up on my side tonight. So we market and advertise different ways. So I'm just going to hand it back to you so I can catch my breath. So back to you, Janet.
Okay, you catch your breath. Okay, thanks. I'll take the timer off. So, all right. So, Karen, same thing to you. Just catch up. Tell us what's going on with you, your burning share, and perhaps what you want to talk about tonight. I did create a page, but I don't know if anybody looked at it. But we'll just be live and what's really relevant right now in the moment. Be here now. Go ahead, Karen. Take it away.
Okay. What I think I don't know if I just talked about this when we were on the air or not, about how everybody's becoming an observer and going through a lot of their history and their memories of this life from way back when they were a child. Were we on the air when I did that? Because I don't want to repeat
Not
it.
on my end.
Again. That's okay. Go ahead.
Anyway.
Repeat it for TJ. Yes.
Anyway, this is what that I find that everybody's doing. And I mean, I see it in my friends and I see it in my students and people around. It's not just one or two are thinking about the past, just little quick flashes, little vignettes of their life, of how they feel, where they came in, what they dealt with, how they were, and the issues, the glitches that need to be neutralized where they don't go with them in their electromagnetic field when the physical body leaves, when the doll body, the physical. And I think that's great. I'm doing it. Everybody I know is. And so an interesting thing when you do that, something happens. It just happened. I got some information, and it will happen for anybody. It's not just, it can happen for anybody. All of a sudden you can look at something, and I was observing something on my iPhone, and it was a text. And then I was going to text this, and all of a sudden I got a spliced-in dimensional picture combining the two texts together of the person who just texted me, and I got the answer. And I went, oh, my gosh, and I knew it wasn't from anything here. And it was just as clean as a whistle. Just the perfect answer of how I needed to answer this person back. And it had to do with, I think, interdimensional communication, other dimensional communication, and it was not human. It was another race somewhere who spliced this together and made a picture of it for me to see, because there were no words, and then somehow it was transmitted into my thought, and I got the answer. And and so I got back with the person. I said, "My gosh, you wouldn't believe what happened." And then I said, "This is the answer." So I was pretty excited about that. So I need to learn how to teach people how to do that. That was a big one for me today, because I'm alone a lot studying. I feel like I'm back in college again, staying up all night trying to do a good grade on an exam, and I have all this. I'm in a study mode and a production mode, and so I'm always pretty much in the observer mode anyway, and try to be grounded. I try to be grounded, in order to walk or something like that, and think about my health, and I'm big on protection. I'm big on the mask and the gloves and all that, and I encourage everybody to, because I think we can win this, but it's whether or not we do have to evolve to where we start thinking and seeking beyond the gerbil wheel in order to do that. So for right now, that's all I have to say.
Okay. I will take the talking stick. We have an invisible talking stick that we pass between us, and I have a 5-minute timer that I set so we can monitor the conversation and keep the round table talking stick going. So I've been having a lot of communication like that as well on a higher extraterrestrial level. I have been recovering memories as well, but my memories are not just of being a human being in this avatar. These are doll bodies. These are forms that we inhabit for a while. I was listening to Errol the Grey. Errol the Grey is the Roswell extraterrestrial, the one that survived the crash, the one that was taken into the base and basically interrogated, but they call it the series of interviews in the book is called Alien Interview by Lawrence Spencer, and Lawrence Spencer was given this material by a nurse, which happened to be telepathic, and so she was at the Roswell crash. She told her superior officer, "I can hear the ET talking to me," and the ET was talking to her, but telepathically. So none of the men at the Roswell crash could hear her, only this woman. So they had her sit down and take these elaborate notes. And then Errol the Grey was telling her, and she was translating for the humans, about the nature of reality and how we came to be, and that this is a prison planet, and that some of her, about 1,000 of her ET species souls got trapped in our cycle of reincarnation, birth, death, and rebirth, and that the reason they intentionally delivered the Roswell craft was to accelerate humanity's evolution, and they knew that the humanity, which was engineered to be a engineering type species, we're builders, we're creators, we're engineers, we're scientists, we can figure things out. The Greys knew that we could reverse engineer the craft and figure it out, and they hoped that we would evolve, become conscious and technologically advanced, so we could figure out the mechanics or the spiritual nature behind this prison planet system that has all the souls of humanity trapped, as well as about 1,000 of the gray alien souls. And so I really highly recommend this book. I'm going to see if I can get a hold of Lawrence Spencer. The fictitious nurse's name is Matilda O'Donnell McElroy, and according to the story, she went to Ireland to live out the rest of her days after serving, and after dealing with the gray Errol. And Errol at one point was not killed. It looked like she was killed, but she actually left her doll body. There's different forms of vehicles that humans incarnate within, and they have different abilities. This one here, the human form, when we come into the earth, it's the most abrupt because we go through a veil of forgetfulness. We are purposely mind-wiped. We don't remember who we are as a soul, but most other species in the continuum have full remembrance of all of their incarnations. So we who are here are the bravest of the souls in the universe, that we volunteer to come here to go unconscious, because when you go unconscious and you learn the lessons, you can evolve individually and collectively as a species on a much higher level, much faster. So this is a very important series of interviews. They're on this page on aquarianradio.com. There's 5 parts of the alien interview. And then as you scroll down, and I'm running out of time here, there's a series of 3 interviews with a gray, you can see the gray alien, and it's captured, and it is explaining what's coming down the line, who they are, our past and our future. It's apparently an excerpt from a much longer military recording around 1942. So get that, 42. So Roswell was not the first thing. This is from 42, and we've been interacting with aliens since Roosevelt. Roosevelt was the first president. Okay, I'm out of time. Okay. Oops. Stop. Okay. So, TJ, it's your turn. And you can respond to what I have said or talk about something completely different. We're dealing with free will here, but you do have 5 minutes, so take it away. The next 5 minutes is yours.
Thank you. One of the main ingredients of being a human, sentient, intelligent being in a container, so to speak, as the Buddhists believe, or whomever, some people, is the fact that we exist. And one of the greatest questions is taken on in philosophy, but we pretty much got I think, therefore I am. So, we can go back to Aristotle, where most of our metaphysics start, at least in philosophy. And even science came out of philosophy, folks, if you research how we began to do all this separation with communication and information. But there are beings that were here before us, and there are billions and billions of years. If you think on a linear timeline, we think billions. But UFO Secret Space and what I hope the 3 of us are going to begin, and hope that you folks enjoy it enough that want to come and hear us at our own events. I plan on having one a year to meet people. Myself with my daughters here in the Panhandle, but if you can't make it, maybe we'll see you somewhere else. But my part is to help present the Ascension Age and how I believe our memories continue forever. However, it was my understanding working with extraterrestrials that we can come here, like be in the wheel of life, and we can continue, as many believe, that you get on this wheel and it just moves you forward and backwards and up and down and around and around. And some people believe until they get rid of their karma or whatever they've created in past lives, they will not get off the wheel. Now, I have another proposal to make, that we can come and go as we please based on the fact of free will. Human nature is nature's God, and how we all exist together and what we create together as separate sparks of the original I am, or the original source, or that which began. And there's some kind of feedback. Is it, Janet, because mine's down. Is it off of yours? Maybe it's just on mine.
Not that I'm aware of.
It may be something from mine.
Oh. Well,
anyway, just keep going. Power over.
Okay. All right. Well, Janet likes to talk about the Roswell connection, and I apparently have one because it kept me on a quest in this reality from the time I was born working. Yeah, it went away, whatever. So maybe it was muting, having to keep us on mute in between. But thank you, Karen. Apparently when we all tune in, there's some kind of feedback. But let's go back now. It wasn't that. Well, I guess we can mute our phones. There's a mute button on most cell phones. But folks, thank you for calling in. I can see you guys calling in from New York, so thank you. We together, working together as women, can each hopefully remember our past lives. But that is part of being human now, is the awakening is about your mindfulness, your inner mindfulness with that which we call a soul, which may or may not be our memories. However, how else would we think we even have a soul without some type of memory of being who we are. And many of us get these videos in our heads. Most everybody has what we call a screen of the mind. And